Hello everyone. So previously we had successfully designed this one authentication system, right? So today we'll be designing. We are asked to design permission and role management system, right? Permission and role management system. So let's see what the question states here. Design a simple permission and role management system that can add users. First one is that can add users. Second one, define roles and permissions, right? Define roles and permissions. Second one. Third one, assign roles to the user. So we should be able to assign the roles to the users, um, and check whether a user has a specific permission. And we should be able to check whether user has a specific permission or not. All in memory without any external databases. Yeah, we will be discussing what databases that we can add in the future. But for this, as it is single file CLI demo, we'll be going with in memory. They have asked all this one, sorry, all in memory without any external database, right? So this is what they have asked. So first let's do one thing. So this is they have mentioned this one very this is very simple actually. Let's do one thing. Let's collect the functional and non-functional requirements first. Then we can just move on with the further things, right? So first let's collect the functional as well as the non-functional requirements. So first let's go with the functional requirements here. What is the first functional requirement? We should be able to add the users roles as well as this one permissions. Add the users roles and permissions. Second one, assign roles to the users, right? Assign roles to the user. This is fine. The third one here, this one, assign permissions to the role. Assign permission to roles. We should be able to assign the permissions to the particular roles, right? So this is fine. Next, let's move on with the fourth one. We have to check if a user has a specific permission or not. Yeah, we have to check if a user has a specific permission or not. The final one, display all roles. What we should do, we have to display all roles and permissions assigned to the particular user. So these are some of the functional requirements. Yep. Next, let's do one thing. Let's move on with the non-functional requirements here. Yeah, so it must run locally. They have asked this. It must run locally, to run locally basically. Then the code should be modular and readable structure, and it should be readable. It should be modular and readable. Yeah, this is fine actually. The next one, big of one average permission lookup. Yeah, so this one we have to keep in mind. They have strictly asked us to go with a big of one average permission lookup. Yeah, the code should be lightweight and concurrency safe. Yeah, the code should be lightweight and concurrency safe. Must run local in the sense we don't have to make use of the this one external DB actually here, right? So this is fine as we are going with the as we're just going with the CLI demo. The second one, this is fine. The third one, because one average permission lookup is also fine. Lightweight and concurrency safe in the sense, so it should be thread safe collection if scaled, right? So that this should be thread safe, yeah, thread safe collections if scaled actually. This one we have to keep in mind actually. This is fine, I believe. Yeah. So next, let's do one thing. We are done with the functional as well as the non-functional requirements. And I hope the question part is completely clear and the requirements part is completely clear as well. Now, let's do one thing based on what we have collected, actually functional and non-functional requirements. And based on the question, let's do one thing. I have designed an algorithm choice for this particular question. Let's discuss that. Yep. So let's move on with the algorithm discussion. Let's move on with the algo discussion actually. Yep. So algorithm choice, what we'll be making use of? We'll be making use of the Python dictionaries. Also, we'll be making use of the sets actually. So we will be making use of the dictionaries as well as the sets for the big of one average access time. They've strictly asked us to go with a big of one average access time, right? So we'll be making use of the dictionaries as well as the sets for the big of one average access time. Just keep this in mind. So mapping goes in this way. User, set of roles, role, set of permissions actually. Yep, so this is fine, I believe. Lookup is efficient since set operations are big of one. They have strictly asked us to go with a big of one average access time. Yep, so lookup is efficient here since set operations, we are going with the set operations as well along with the dictionaries, right? So which are basically big of one. This is fine, I believe. So this is the algorithm that we'll be making use of, right? So this is fine. Next, let's move on with the concurrency and the data model parts. First, let's go with the data model part here. So they have asked us to go with in memory, right? So we'll not be making use of any external this one databases, but it should be persistent in the future. That also we have to keep in mind, right? So whatever the code that we write, it must be we should be able to add the external database in the future, right? For now, we'll be going with the in memory. So here, so now we'll be going with the in memory model using the dicts, right? Nothing but the dictionaries, right? So we'll be going with user roles and the user permissions in memory model using dicts. Next, let's speak about the concurrency as well. When it comes to concurrency, the thread safety, right? So it can be extended using the locks, right? So we'll be making use of the threading.lock if needed, if only needed. Yeah, we can just go with the threading.lock. So this is not a problem actually. And one more thing. So here, for the we are just going with a demo, right? For the demo simplicity, we can just go with single threaded simulation with single threaded simulation. I hope this is clear, man. Let's do one thing. Now, let's move on with the UML diagram, the main thing. So we will be going with the three classes here. One is permission and another one is role permission and the third one is user roles, right? So permission, this one role permissions are directly dependent on the permission and user roles are directly dependent on the role permission. So this one we have to keep in mind. Yep. So based on what we had discussed, I have designed the UML diagram. So the same exact thing will be articulating in the form of code along with the logical part. Yep. So we'll be adding the logic and the same thing will be making use of within the UML diagram. Code actually. Right. So now we have discussed the main things: algorithm choice, concurrency, and the data model along with the UML diagram. Right. So now let's do one thing. It's a good time to write the code. Let's start writing the code. So now let's start writing the code. First thing, I'll be going with the main class of the base class, permission system. So I'll just go with permission system actually. So yeah, sorry. Within the permission system class, first let's go with the initialization part, right? So I'll just go with the initialization part in it here. Yep. So along with the self is enough. So first we have to map each role to its permission, right? So I'll just go with self dot role permissions. So we have discussed this one already within the concurrency and the data model. So I'll just assign this one to the dictionary. And also we have to map each user to their roles, right? So I'll just go with here user roles. Yep. So this is fine, I believe. Next, what shall we do? Let me go with the first method here, nothing but the add role. So I'll just go with, sorry, add roles here. Sorry, add role. The parameter that I need here is role name. So we need the role name as parameter, right? So within this particular method, we should be able to add the new role. So let me write the simple if condition. Just listen to this carefully. If role name not in this one role permissions actually, right? So I'll just go with role permissions. Then what we need to do actually, uh, role permissions of role name, we have to set this one to the set, right? That should be different for everyone. So I'll just go with here. I'll just go with set dot role permissions of, let me pass the role name here. Let me assign this one to the set actually. Yep. So this is fine, I believe. Next, let's do one thing. We are done with the add role method. Next, let's go with the add permissions to role, right? So here within this method, we have to assign the permissions to the particular role, right? First, let me go with add permission to role actually, right? Uh, Along with the self, let me go with role name as well as the permission actually. Along with the role name, I'll just go with the permission, right? So we have to assign permission to the role, right? So if role name not in, let me go with role permissions. Yep, so this is fine. Then let's do one thing. I'll just go with add role. So this one, yeah, I'll just go with the add role of role name. Let me pass the role name. So this is fine. The next one, what shall I do? I'll just go with the role permissions here. Yep. So this one, role permissions of role name. Yep. So I'll just go with add of, let me pass the permission, right? So this is fine. Next, let's do one thing. Let's go with a add user method, right? I'll just go with add user. So this is fine. 1 second. Yeah. Add user of, let me pass self along with the self. Let me go with the username. Right, so we have to, within the add user, we should be able to create the new user, right? So let's write the simple if condition. I'll just go with a username here. Username, if it is not an, this one, user roles actually. Yep, I'll just go with user roles. This has to show. Yep, then what we have to do, I'll just go with the user roles of this one, username, right? So let me assign this one to the set again. Yep, we are done with add user method. Next, we should be able to assign the role to the user, right? So we should be able to assign the role to the user. For that one, let's write one more method. I'll just go with assign role to user. Right, so I'll just go with, along with the self, I need username and role name, right? I'll just go with username and role name. Yep. So let's do one thing within this helper method, or within this method. Let me write the simple if condition. We have to assign a role to the user, right? The same thing, the similar thing to the previous one actually. If username, sorry, not an user roles actually, it's not showing. Okay, why this is not showing? We are going with a what are the parameters that we have made use of actually? Assign role to user. We are going with a username and role name. Okay. Uh, oh, I have not made use of self here. Sorry. Yeah, this is fine. Uh, then within this if condition, I'll just go with the add user here. Add user of, based on the username, we have to add the user, right? I'll just go with the username, and final step here is I'll just go with the user roles of username. So basically, we have to add the role name to the user roles, right? Based on the names actually. I'll just go with here dot add of this one. Let me pass the role name actually. I'll just pass the role name. So this is fine. The next step would be, let's go with a check user permission, right? So we have to check if the user has a specific permission or not. For that, let's write one more method. I'll just go with def here, check user permission actually. So along with the self, I need username and permission, right? Let me go with username permission actually. So this is fine. So within the check user permission method, so we have to check if the user has specific permission or not, right? So I'll just assign the roles to this one, user roles. I'll just go with the user roles dot get. So let me go with username. Yep. So this is fine. Let me go with a for loop. So this is fine for role in roles actually. Yep. So within the for loop, let's write the simple if condition. What we have to do actually, we have to check if the user has specific permission or not, right? So I'll just go with permission here. This has to show if permission n, this one, role permissions, right? So I'll just go with role permissions, not showing. Yep, role permissions dot get, what we need to get actually, role, or we'll be going with the empty list actually. So within this if condition, then if the permission is in the this one, permissions actually, role permissions, then we have to return true, else we have to return false. We are checking, right? So I'll just go with return boolean value true, else we have to return false actually. Yep. So this is fine, I believe. This is it for the check user permission method. Next, let's do one thing. Let's go with the last method, nothing but display user access. We should be able to display all the roles and permissions for the user accordingly with the criteria of the question or requirement of the question, right? So we collected some requirements. If you remember, you can check that we are asked to display all the roles and permissions for the user. So I'll just go with here display user access method. Display user access username, right? So this is fine. Within this method, first thing we should be able to display all the roles and permissions for the user, right? So see here, first let me write the simple if condition here. I'll just go with if username not in user roles actually. Yeah, I'll just go with user roles. So this is fine. Let me return, what should I return here? So let me make use of the string interpolation and let me go with user. Mm, Let me pass the username here. Sorry. Yep, username not found actually. So if username not in the user roles, then we have to display some message. Then I'm just displaying that username, this particular user not found. Simple, yeah. So next, what we have to do. So let me go with this one. Let me assign the roles to this one. User roles. Sorry, you want twice here. Then I'll just go with the user roles actually. Yep. Roles equals self dot the roles, we have to pass the username. Let me go with username. So this is fine. The next step, so let me go with the permissions here. Mm, Why this is not showing? Oh, this one, I am using this one, right? Permissions equals set. Yep. So this is fine. Yeah, going with the set, this is fine. Mm, for individual role and different roles, actually, let me set the permissions actually. This permissions, I'll just go with the role permissions. Role permissions dot get. Let me pass the set actually. So this is fine. Yeah. Let me return something actually. I'll just return here user. So let me make this one capital U so that this looks good. Actually, we have to return something that's relevant, right? I'll just pass the username here. So this will be good. Mm, Let me go with here roles actually. So we should display all the roles and permissions for the user, right? I'll just go with roles. Let me pass the roles here, right? Yep. So not role actually, roles. Yep. So also let's display the permissions as well. Yep. So I'll just go with permissions actually, and let me pass the permissions. Yep. So let me pass the permissions actually. This is fine. Yeah. So this is it for the display user access method. So we are done with all the methods, man. Yeah. First, we are going with the main base class permission system. So within that one, we have went with several methods. First one is add role, add permission to role. This one add user, assign role to the user, add check user permission, and finally display user access. These are some of the methods that we went with accordingly with the criteria within the question or accordingly with the requirements, functional as well as the non-functional requirements, right? So keeping in mind this one, basically the requirements are primarily the requirements that they have given along with the question. We have successfully written the code and based on the UML diagram as well. Now, usually I take the demo usage or the example usage from the Google. So just let me do that. Yep. So let me take this one example usage from the Google. Just give me a second here. So let me paste it over here. So first what we are doing, we are calling the main class, nothing but the permission system here, right? So we are calling the main class permission system. Next, we are defining the roles and permissions, right? So here first, we are going with the two roles actually. One is admin and another one is editor, right? One is admin and another one is editor, right? So then what we are doing, so we are adding the permission to the role admin, add user, admin, delete user, editor, edit content. So this is file. Then we are creating the user. First user is Alice, the second user is Bob here. So we are assigning particular role to the particular user here, right? So we should accordingly with the criteria, we should be able to assign the particular role to the particular user, right? Assigned role to the user, Alice has been assigned as admin and Bob has been assigned as editor, right? So this is fine. Next, what we are doing, we are displaying the user access here, right? So we are going with a display user access of Alice, this one Bob, right? Here, user access of Alice. So Alice, user Alice, roles, this one admin, permissions, this one add user, delete user. We have set this one to the add user and delete user. For the admin, actually, we have set this one add user and the delete user. For the editor, it's only edit content. For the admin, add user and the delete user, right? When we this one display the user access, when we run the display user access method and we are passing the this one actually Alice, then the output we have to get as user Alice roles admin permissions add user delete user. Next, what we are doing, we are going with a Bob actually. Bob, again, the roles editor, permissions only to edit the content. Edit content. Next, what we are doing, only this much. Then what we are doing here, we are checking the permission. Can Alice delete the user? Alice is admin and Alice is able to add the user and delete user. In this case, we have to get the Boolean value true. Yes, we are passing the delete user here. See, we are passing the delete user here. We have to get the Boolean value true. Can Alice delete user? True, right? Then we are going with a Bob actually. Can Bob delete user? We are passing the delete user here, but Bob is only editor. And what's his the actually role? This one, edit content. He should be able to only edit the content. He is not this one, he is not assigned with the he's not given permission to delete user, right? So here in this case, Bob, can Bob delete user? We have to get the Boolean value false actually. Bob is not able to, or Bob will not be able to delete the user. Only Alice will be able to delete the user because Alice is admin and Bob is just the uh, Bob will be able to only edit the content, right? Right. So this is fine, I believe. So this is the output that we need to get based on the example usage that we have considered, right? So now we have discussed the code step by step and we have discussed the output part as well. Let me do one thing. Let's run the code. So yeah, we have discussed the output part already, right? So I'll just give your control J, me give Python followed by the file name dot py. Yeah, see here, first one user Alice, roles admin, this one permissions, delete user as well as the add user. So we can clearly see here, admin role, this one add user as well as the delete user role actually. Yep. Next we are displaying this one a Bob, right? So next here, this one create users, we have created Alice and Bob. Next we are assigning role. Next here, display user of Bob. First we check for Alice, then we are checking for the Bob roles editor, right? Bob editor, permissions edit content. See here, we have set the permissions to edit content, right? Next, can Alice delete user? We have already discussed this one. Yes, true. Alice is able to delete the user because Alice is an admin. Yeah, she's an admin. And what about the Bob? Bob is not an admin. Bob is just the this one. What do we call editor? Who is a yeah, who will be able to edit the content only. The permissions are given to edit the content only, right? So now, can Bob delete user? No. So we have to get the Boolean value false, right? So we are getting the Boolean value false. We are getting absolute correct output, or we are getting the desired output, right? Accordingly with the code that we have written. So whatever the code that we have written works absolutely correct. Yep. Whatever the code that we have written works absolutely correct. We have discussed the code step by step and we have discussed the output part as well, and we have got the desired output. Next, let's do one thing. Let's discuss the limitations for the code that we have written, right? So here, the first limitation is no persistence, right? So we are not making use of any external database here. No persistence, data will be quite obviously lost on the program exit, right? So the second one, no concurrency control, right? So we are just going with a single threaded, as we are just going with a single file CLI demo, right? So this is one of the limitations as well. Next, no hierarchical roles, right? No hierarchical roles. right? So we cannot inherit permissions. We cannot inherit permissions. So this is the one. And the final one, no audit logs or removal of permissions or roles yet, right? So this is one of the this one limitations. We are not going with any audit logs or removal of the permissions or roles yet. Yep. So this is one of the limitations, right? So this is fine. Next, let's move on with the final thing. Nothing but let's discuss about the alternative algorithms that we would have made use of and what are the trade-offs actually, right? First, we can just go with a we could have went with a graph-based role, this one graph-based role hierarchy, right? So what it does, it enables the inheritance, right? Role A can inherit from the role B when we go with a graph-based role hierarchy, right? It enables the inheritance, nothing but role A can inherit from the role B. The main trade-off here is it's slightly higher complexity. We have to go with a big of V plus E, right? So that's the main trade-off actually. Yep. So next, we can go with a or we would have went with a database back model as well, right? So it will be persistent, no doubt, but it increases the setup complexity quite obviously. Yep. So this is fine. So third one, RBAC, nothing but role based access control with caching. So what it does, caches computed permissions for faster access actually, right? But the main trade-off would be here, we must handle the cache this one invalidation carefully, right? So we have to handle the cache invalidation carefully. That's the one thing. That's the trade-off actually. The final one here, ABAC, right? Attribute based access control, right? Attribute based access control. So it's completely flexible, no doubt. It's completely flexible, but computationally or calculatively higher, this one heavier per check, right? It's completely flexible, but computationally heavier per check, right? So this one we have to keep in mind. So these are some of the alternative algorithms and the trade-offs, right? So yep, this is it for the this one permission and the role management. Yep. So we have successfully designed permission and role management system. Yeah. So I hope whatever we have discussed is completely clear along with the UML diagram and the coding part actually. Yep. So next we will be designing multi-factor authentication, right? Multi-factor authentication system. For now, this is it. Thanks for watching, guys.